no gold is not enough.
Welcome to Chris Educational Vlog. So before we begin, I would like to thank all the viewers who made time of watching my first vlog, the 50 viewers. Thank you. And for this second ed vlog, it is actually dedicated for my grade 10 students, entitled Using Information from News Reports, Speeches, Informative Talks, and Panel Discussions in Everyday Conversations and Exchanges. So without further ado, let us dig in. So just like any other educational vlog, I would be starting this with reading the most essential learning competency. So for this topic, its competency is its title: Use information from news reports, speeches, informative talks, panel discussions, etc. in everyday conversations and exchanges. And my KUD objectives: first is to define the meaning of information, news, report, speech, informative talk, panel discussion, and conversation. My second objective is to determine factual information in a text. And the third one is to use information from different sources in a conversation. So for our springboard session, we have this fact or bluff. So I'll be showing you some information and you will just determine whether it is a fact or a bluff. So the first one here is, it says here, RIP Michael V. Bitoy, GMA 24 Oras News.blogspot.com. Breaking news: aktor na si Michael V. or Bitoy ay pumanaw na kanina lamang mata or mat, and it no longer continues there. So is it a fact or bluff? Okay, so we proceed to the second one. We have here, it's better for Duterte to resign now before the most big people power face him, by Soc Villegas, Archbishop Soc Villegas. So is it a fact or a bluff? Okay, so we proceed. The next one, we have here a tale of taxes. ABS-CBN 1.4 billion total paid for 18 years, and GMA 1.4 billion total paid for 2018 alone. So this is the Thinking Pinoy, I'm Thinking Pinoy. Okay, so let us check. So we have here the three examples again that I've shown you. So these three examples are all examples of bluff. So none of this is actually factual or truthful. And most of these examples are evident and can mostly can be seen in our social media, right? In our news feeds, in our social media. So I think this topic is really timely, so we would be able to really check the information or the sources that we are actually using and feeding ourselves, and even sharing, because this kinds of information are actually shared by many, and once this information, this bluff information is shared towards others, it is multiplied. And multiple persons are actually believing this or going to be influenced by this kinds of information. So this is not just timely but relevant to all of us. So now we continue. So we will be defining the different terms in our mouth. So let's start first with information. What is information? So according to Oxford Languages, information are facts provided or learned about something or someone. So the key words here is that information is not actually an opinion or viewpoint, but rather it is factual or facts. So it must have evidences, or it is something that had happened. And these facts are actually learned about something or someone. Okay, so we go to another definition of information from Binger's 1995. Traditionally, information has been seen as processed data, while more recently soft interpretive approaches have taken information to be data plus meaning. So here, the important terms here are processed data. When we say processed data, we have this information, primary information and secondary information. So when we say processed data, it is already the secondary information. And it says here that it is not just a data, but it also includes here that data should have with meaning. So data plus meaning according to Mingers. So a data without meaning is something we cannot comprehend or incomprehensible. So we go to the next one. And the next one is news report. What is news report? So according to Wet Tropics Management Authority, news reports are found in newspapers, and their purpose is to inform readers of what is happening in the world around them. So news reports is actually a printed report in a newspaper, but nowadays we have this what we call e-newspapers or e-news that where we can actually find this in the different websites of the different newspapers. So it is also called a news report. So for news report, the purpose of this kind of source of information is to inform its readers. So it is actually written information. Next, what is speech? So for speech, it is a formal address or discourse delivered to an audience. So the characteristics of speech is formal. It is being delivered in a formal manner, and at the same time, it says here, it is a discourse by Oxford Languages. When we say discourse, has this burden of persuading its audience, or burden of proof, or delivering proofs or evidences. So when we say speech, it is formal and it is a discourse. Next, we have the informative talk. What is an informative talk? Informative talks is also called informative speaking. Generally centers on talking about people, events, processes, places, or things. Informing an audience about one of these subjects without being persuasive is often a difficult task to complete, according to University of Pittsburgh 2020. So the keywords here, it says here, centers. So it has a focus. Informative talks has a focus, whether it could be a person, it could be an event, a process, place, or thing. Another one for a more informative talk is that the very purpose of this is to inform its audience, but at the same time we cannot actually box it into just informing, because it is really difficult to inform people without persuading them. So sometimes informative talks is with persuasion. So though its very purpose is to inform, sometimes it also includes persuading people or persuading its audience. Next, we have the panel discussion. What is a panel, or what is panel discussion? Panel discussion is a specific format used in a meeting, conference, or convention. It is a live or virtual discussion about a specific topic amongst a selected group of panelists who share differing perspectives in front of a large audience. So the keywords here for panel discussion is that it is in a format of meeting or conference or convention, and it is discussed, or it is done with a selected group or panelists, wherein these panelists do not actually share same viewpoints or perspectives. And of course, this discussion is actually being done or being delivered in a large group of audience. Next, what is conversation? So we're done defining information and the different sources. Now we go to conversation. So it is also important that we define this. What is conversation? Conversation, the verbalization of concepts involving abstractions and concrete objects which make up the world we live in. So the keywords here for conversation is that it should be verbalized, so verbalization. So it should be shared. It should be something that we speak about. Okay, so, and of course, the things that we do in this conversation, we speak about or verbalize things that is related to us, okay, or that is actually happening to us. So we go to the next one. Another definition of conversation: it is a communication by two or more people, or sometimes with oneself, often on a particular topic. So here, for this definition, it focuses on the people or the person persons involved. So it could be two. This is the typical understanding of conversation. It's just for the two people or two persons, but it could be done by more than two. Okay, and sometimes also we call a talking to oneself as a conversation. So that's the meaning of conversation. It is something being done not just by two persons, but can be done by more than two, and even by talking to yourself, it is considered to be a conversation. Okay, so next. So now we go back to our most essential learning competency. So we will be using the different information coming from news reports, speeches, informative talks, and panel discussion, and we try to use it in our conversation. So how to use information and use it in a conversation? Okay, so we will be using what will you serve, what will you say in understanding how we're going to use the information that we get from the different sources in our daily conversation. So it is actually divided into equal parts. And of course, why titled what will you serve, what will you say? Just like a pizza, right? So which part of the pizza will you serve? Or in a conversation, which part of the information, which piece of information will you say to your conversation? So it is actually, in this chart, we have 5 different factors or different pieces equally divided. So we have the optimistic, the pessimistic, the creative, emotional, and of course the rational. So for the optimistic, this part of the chart is actually where a person use information in a positive way or in a positive manner, or he use the information and deliver it in a conversation in a bright side. Okay, well, the pessimistic, wherein the user will going to use it in conversation and try to see the information in its most disadvantaged viewpoints, while the creative part will be trying to look out or look for its out of this world side. So they will try to use it in a conversation and use it in a out of this world or in a creative manner. And the emotional part, wherein the users will try to use the information and will focus or deal with expressing the feelings about the information. So their conversation will basically be focusing on what they feel. And of course, for the rational, will be dealing with using the information and trying to judge it in their conversation based on the facts and evidences presented. Okay, so these are the 5 parts of this chart that we'll be going to use in this activity, in trying to understand at the same time in trying to use information in our conversation. Okay, so we proceed and let's try. Okay, so we have here an article, a cover article from the Philippine Star, which has a motto of truth shall prevail. Okay, so 3 dead in hotel fire. So let us try to use it in an optimistic manner. Okay, so for me, if I'll be using it in an optimistic manner, I'll be probably saying in a conversation that at least for this hotel fire, it had 3 deaths. Although death, of course, 1 death is already a big loss. Probably I'll be sharing this in a conversation wherein I'll be trying to see it in a brighter side. At least there are only 3 casualties for this hotel fire. Okay, how about trying to see it in a pessimistic viewpoint? So in a conversation, we can actually use this information wherein for me, probably I'll be saying in a conversation that I am alarmed. And at the same time, probably I'll be conversing about being more cautious in choosing or booking a hotel. So probably that's the pessimistic viewpoint that I'll be saying in a conversation. So how about you? How are you going to use this information in optimistic and pessimistic viewpoints? So comment down below your answers. Okay, so next, we try to understand this in a creative viewpoint. It's pretty difficult for this example, right? But for me, if I'll be creative here, if I have this knowledge on designs or hotel designs or architectural designs for a more safe structures, probably I'll be talking about it in that conversation based from the information here that we have in the Philippine Star, the deaths in a hotel fire. So probably that's the connection that I can actually use based from this information and based from my creativity, and of course using that in a conversation. But for this one, it's not that for the creative viewpoint, it is not the best example for this particular information. So we cannot have creative inputs for this example. But if you do have, you're thinking one creative viewpoint for this one, comment your answers down below in our comment box. Okay, next, how about the emotional? Of course, this is, I think, the most easiest part of using this information, trying to be emotional in our conversation. Of course, we can express in our conversation about this information that we feel, of course, sad, and we feel unhappy of what had happened for this unfortunate event. Okay. And the last one is rational. So I think this is the most important one. And this is most of this is the part of the chart we're in. It is sometimes neglected. So when we say rational, we need to understand the information based from its factual evidences, and of course, most of the time, printed news, just like this one, are already checked thoroughly by editors, by their news agency. So we can expect that we can rely on the information that the information used in these articles, from numbers, names, addresses, are all accurate. But of course, it is not bad, or it's not actually wrong to check it again or to validate whether the information is actually correct, or the information is accurate or not. And sometimes it is also important that we check or we read everything. So that's part of being rational. I think in order to effectively do this part of the chart, it is important that we check. Okay, so we check whether we check everything or we read everything before we proceed to using this in a rational conversation, because sometimes the titles does not speak about the totality of the content. So it's important that we read the whole article to be effective in this rational side of using the information. Okay, so we go now to the reality check, the last part of our lesson. we had that chart in trying to use the information in conversation, and I think it is applicable nowadays because most of the time we are bombarded with a lot of information, right? And it is really difficult to find nowadays truthful information or accurate information. It's like gold. So to check it, if we want to check the validity and the reliability of an information, we can actually use and apply the chart that we had earlier. And of course, it is very important whether it is a fake news or a truthful news or an accurate news. It is important that we try to understand the information in its totality, in its holistic viewpoint. In a conversation, it will be more fruitful if you will try to talk about the different perspectives or the different aspects of that information. So we try to understand it in optimistic viewpoint, pessimistic viewpoint, creative viewpoint, emotional viewpoint, and the rational viewpoint. Now, for the realities that we're facing, so the questions are, what are the different ways that you do when you try to check the information that you are actually feeding yourselves? So do you still check the information that you actually read or heard? And what do you do? Do you share it once you validated the information? Or what if you did not validate the information? Do you often share it or not? And of course, how important for you is using a factual information in a conversation. Or if you have any other means of doing or using information in a conversation, comment your answers below. So I will leave you with these questions. I hope that you will try to reflect on this and try to answer it in the comment box. I'll be looking forward to this. And we proceed to our shout out segment. Of course, I would like to acknowledge the people that I did not mention from my previous ad vlog. So we have Melvin Beltran, Nartleb Beltran. This is my current student, grade 10 CRP. Hello, Melvin. We also have Jimmy Mahor, a good friend of mine. Jimmy, finally. Thank you very much. So we also have Chris Angel Navarrete, my former student, grade 10 CRP. Hello, Chris Angel. And of course, with that, I would just like to end this educational vlog, and we will be seeing again next time. And please, if you do like this ed vlog, please comment down your reactions, or if you want to have a particular topic for an educational vlog, please comment it down. Please like, share, and subscribe. So see you to my next educational vlog. Bye.
And I'll go